Scout, yeah. And he's coming. Separately side by my.
Louder. I'm right, Mike. I get it. Oh. Hey, man, okay, card up.
It's now and not today.
What's over here?
Got it. Hi.
No. See, if we're talking about, or do you want me to make an addendum or gonna do that? On the Shively thing. You can do it. Okay, I'll do it. Yeah. 400 bucks, clean it up. Oh, no, I'll do this. No, that's them, gentlemen. So basically that. Oh, we're 12:32. Okay, call meeting to order. Thank you, everybody, for coming. And, which would you prefer, Clerk Burt, the call to order or the pledge of allegiance? Oh, let's do the pledge. Okay, we'll do. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, first, as order of business. The last meeting tape had some real muddy. What's going on? Had some real muddy vocals in it. Mine came out all right. I try to maintain a distance of about this far. For you guys, maybe that'll help. We tried turning it down a little. And I think I'm gonna borrow that one and fix this one on the fly. Last while. Thank you.
Just peachy, lovely, whatever you want.
Oh, my lord. We have a guest appearance here.
You know who that is?
It's Cindy Pott.
I don't have glasses on, so
Parks and Rec.
I can't.
Okay, so maintaining a distance of somewhere in the 10-inch range is probably gonna work better. Or at least trying to, and we'll see how it comes out this time. Okay, can we have a roll call, please? Supervision. Trustee Lynette, trustee Detmer. All present. Okay. First order of business would be the approval of the meeting agenda with additions or modifications. I suspect a couple of you have additions and I have 3 that I'll go through first and then we'll add on whatever else. Do you want anything to do with board comments first? You've got it up there, but.
Either way.
Let's do this first and then we'll do the board comments. So there are 5 items on there. Couple of things I'm gonna suggest and see if the board agrees. On number 5, it says decision discussion, or it says decision. I'd like to change that to discussion. I have not had time in the last week or so to even get into fertilizer setbacks any more than we were when we mentioned it. But we can certainly talk about it some more, but I'm in no position to want to further a vote on that today. So that would be 1, is to change decision to discussion.
How about we just scratch it?
I'd like to talk about it a little bit.
Okay.
So that leaves item number 6, excuse me, which I'm gonna suggest be to review an update letter from Amanda Wachinski, our grant writer. And I have that here and I'll pass that out when the time comes. Number 7 is to review and approve the agreement with Amanda Wachinski for work on the ice storm damage reimbursement money. Number 8 would be discussion on the creation of ad hoc committees to pursue a Lyon Township 4th of July parade and or the same for Mr. Barta's suggestion to research the effects of fireworks on the lake. So that would fill in 6, 7, and 8 with a word change on 5. What else do you guys get?
I got a couple added. And I passed out everything to you guys. This discussion on that handicap swing, there's some prices on a couple there. You can either vote on it or discuss it, however you want to go about that for the park, Samuelson Park.
Okay, I got that as number 9. Is that making sense?
Yep.
Okay.
Number 10 would be the pricing for the compost electric gate with everything included in there, the price for the gate, the electrical installation. You guys have all that and discuss that.
Okay, do we have an 11?
Township, or the fire department parking lot seal coating prices here for their parking lot.
For fire department?
For fire department, yeah.
Okay, looking at a number 12.
I didn't have time to make copies. I just actually got this at just after 12 o'clock, but the new GFL contract that we need to sign for June 1st. It's basically what we've discussed before. So it'll start June 1st, 2026, go to June 1st, or May 31st, 2027. At a reduced cost. Down, right now we're paying 1657 a person. 1654. So they've agreed to drop it to 1590 beginning June 1st for this coming year. Then 4%. So the following year, it'll bring it up to what we're originally paying right now. So basically, you're gonna get, everybody will get a 2-year, no increase in the trash. And then it goes up 4% each year with no fuel surcharges for the duration of this contract as well. So I'll get copies to you guys, but I don't know if you want to discuss it or not. But we need to vote on this before the end of the month to get it in, to get it going. And I'm not sure I'm going to be here next Wednesday, so I have something I can't probably miss, but I'll try. In the meantime, I'll get these to you guys and but we need to vote on whether I'm here or not. I think you guys can do that. So that was number 12.
That's what I got. What about you, Mr. Monet?
I have one more.
Yep.
I know our appointees for the HLUA are up next month. And I would definitely, want to go through this. I attended their meeting Monday. It's a little disturbing what they want to, put on the people, the residents, and, I think we need to go through, our appointees. I just don't want to re-up them willy-nilly. I think there should be other candidates considered as well. So we can talk about that if you want. That's it.
Okay, hang on for you, Pam. This one's dying now. If you put new ones in that, can you swap me around that way? Thank you. All right, Mr. Monet, what do you got? We're to 14 now. Oh, my Lord.
Very simple. I need to have a small discussion, about, short-term rental, very short, no details, and a request I'm gonna make of the board.
Thank you, Pam. Sure.
That's it.
Okay, so hearing none. Well, you ask me.
Oh, you got some too?
I want to pay my, this 800, the tree work is done, and we need a motion to pay him. We've already approved the bill, but he's now done with the work. Let me get another piece of paper started here. Okay, that's 215. Any other ones?
Your turn.
I make a motion, we close the meeting. I make a motion that we close the meeting.
Okay, well, all right, so real briefly,
No discussion?
I'll try and run down that as accurately as I can. I'm gonna make a motion to approve the meeting agenda with these modifications: a word change in number 5, the additions of 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. Do we have a second for that?
I'll second.
Okay, is there any further discussion from the board? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oppose the same. Motion carries 5-0. So, move on to the board comments, and I'm,
for a couple of reasons. I want to start first. I'm not in the business of hiding anything from anybody. I was notified yesterday that there's a recall petition language was filed for me as supervisor. I'm bringing this up now because there's no reason to hide it, but plus this allows for public comment later if anybody wanted to say anything about this. A couple of the important parts are that our legal firm, Bachman Thal, who Mr. Bila is our personal rep. Because it's a filing for a recall, they can have nothing to do with this. And we've already talked about it. I'm not going to ask them anything about it. Some of the recall language could potentially include other board members. I have put some feelers out there already to try and sort through the language. Again, not from Mr. Bila, other sources, to try and get a little bit clearer on what this is. I'm sorry, I'll try and do it as fast as I can for now. The recall language is such, or is stated that in the budget as of May 11th, 2026, Mr. Bertrand as supervisor has not presented to the board or the public three things. First one being a balanced 2026-27 budget. Number two, which is certainly as supervisor, I am statutory duty is to prepare and present a budget. That's certainly under my umbrella. Number two is a resolution to approve bank depositories of Lyon Township funds for 2026-27. I talked to a few people already today, and though that may or may not have need to have been in the budget, that certainly appears to be a treasurer office thing, and we'll get to that when I get more information. We'll look at that. Third one being resolutions for salaries of board members for 26-27. Under the same vein, it may or may not have been mandated that that be in our budget. But in either case, we did not raise any, we didn't change any salaries for the board members. And that actually leans back towards the clerk's office. So I'm making everybody aware that this happened, and I got feelers out for more information. We'll see where it goes. The public hearing on it, I believe, is the 26th. Don't quote me on that. In any case, I wanted to make a statement so for the video record. I was put here by 2/3 of the registered voters in Lyon Township to stop affluent minority special interest groups from forcing their personal agendas on the majority of residents. And I do so every day. I'm very proud of standing up for the ignored majority of residents, home and property owners. Happy to do it. This recall, in my opinion, is all about big money coming back to take yours. So that'll be on the record. And we'll proceed forward. You know, of course, we'll do whatever we legally have to do. So if there's any comments or questions about that, then you would be able to bring something up in public comment. And that's all I have.
I have only one question, clarification there. I know you said 2/3 of the registered voters, but I think you probably meant 2/3 of the regular registered voters who voted. Because obviously, all the people did not vote.
Okay.
So that's all I'm saying. Oh, and the clerk has nothing to say.
Well, I mean, that.
Oh, yeah. More comments from the rest of the board?
Anyone else? Mike, Kevin?
I'm good.
Yeah, I have just very brief actually for me.
You are never brief.
Well, uh, since our meeting last week, we've had, some time, and thank you, by the way, for being here, to think about things and some things that were stated here. And one thing I want to make perfectly clear is that it was brought up that like, why am I always bringing up the state or am I fighting the state? That's not what I'm doing at all. Everything this township board does is dictated by a statute, a rule, or a law set up and put in place, enacted by the people, by the state of Michigan. So therefore, to me, it only makes sense that if there's things that are brought up that are not being done correctly or otherwise, or just general statutes, it is the state. So I'm bringing up the state. So to be chastised like I'm fighting the state, well, maybe it's time that townships get together, I've been thinking about it, and put forth an effort to put pressure on our state to do something as far as a short-term rental ordinance, as far as defining exactly what it is so people don't have to spend millions of dollars a year fighting this in courts. Maybe it's time for a statewide septic ordinance instead of a new House bill that was introduced, brought to my attention yesterday, to now basically they're taking a lot of time, and there's more to it, to say, well, we want to pass a House bill to maybe say that mobile homes can just go anywhere in R1 residential districts. They want to get away with mobile home parks. So instead of the really important things like septic ordinances and things like that, we're worried about where mobile homes are going to go. So to me, it's very important that we're dictated by the state, but I also think it would show us a sign of I can't say that word, consolidarity, there you go, of townships to get together and say, let's do something. Let's put pressure on the county. They have it in their authority to pass a countywide septic ordinance. Isabella County did it in 1997. They don't even have the pristine lakes we have here. So when I bring up this stuff, it just is because we are beholden to a greater law than just what we have. And I think it's time that we do something with it. So that's all I have to say right now. Thank you.
Thank you. One more thing, because you mentioned it, and I was going to do it in announcements, because it pertains to that. On Tuesday, May 19th at 11 a.m., I posted this meeting and sent it by email. This is going to be a meeting specifically short-term rental. Our attorney, Michael Beela, will be here to answer any and all questions on topic. And as far as explaining differences between police power zoning and blended police power zoning short-term rental. To be clear, he is here to provide advice on what the law is and what we can do legally, not what policy position the board should take. So I may bring that up again in announcements, but in reference to what you're saying, he will be here Tuesday at 11 o'clock. Happens to be coming back from somewhere north of here, so we kind of got lucky. Any other board comments? Okay, those being done, let's start into this lengthy agenda. Number one is a continued discussion on cost of living adjustments for Lyon Township employees. Pam worked diligently. I'm just going to give you a breakdown quickly because I don't want to get stuck in the mud here. And then I will give this information to the board members. We can maybe vote on something at our board meeting. If you were to make $20 an hour, the cost of living at 3%, which is certainly right in the ballpark, very close to Social Security, you would then make $20.60. It goes down if you make 18. These are typical wages here: $18.50, $15, $21.50, $17. The amount of money in all of those she has broke down, so we would have a better understanding of it. So at the board meeting, we can decide if we want to pursue this. Give it to you guys and email it to you guys. The basic breakdown, like for $20.60, for $15.45 per hour. So that's how it would roll. Is there any other discussion on that now? And then I'll make sure everybody gets it before the board meeting.
For next fiscal year. Are you talking 26, 27?
Right now, to amend our budget to do it now.
Oh. Okay.
Oops. Okay, hearing none, I will make sure that gets out there. Number 2, a discussion on the wage of maintenance person Richard Maplebeck. A while back, we gave a raise to JC, our maintenance person, and did a couple of other things. This was a while ago. I know we had conversations about trying to move Richard, who is an excellent worker, from $15 to $16 an hour. And some of you may remember talking about this, some not. In either case, when Tom was going through payroll records doing this cost of living, he still makes $15 an hour. I don't know quite what happened, if we never did a motion, if we did a motion and it got lost. I don't know. But again, next week at the board meeting, I would like to make a motion then that we do put him at 16. And I think we owe him back pay personally. I'll make the motion that way and see if it passes that way. It was a long time ago when we gave JC that raise, but I'm pretty sure our intent was to bump Richard up too.
Well, if I can speak to that, but in May of last year, JC got his raised to 1850, and Richard came in a little before that or a little afterwards, and the rate we had for him was $13, and he says, "Oh no," he talked to Paul, and it was going to be 15. We had our discussion, and he went to 15 at that particular time. Before that, the rate was $13, not with Richard, but with the whatever his position is called, maintenance helper or whatever. I don't recall the 16 thing ever coming up, but I'm quite sure it did not go to a vote. So, but back pay, I think you got, I think you have had asked something about the legal firm about back pay, and they said that's not going to fly, something like that. So it might have to be something different, or maybe you'd consider a different amount. I'll just ask that because we just raised the sexton from 15 to 17. We just raised the ordinance officer from 15 to 17. Maybe we just take the bull by the horns and offer him 17. Would that be a ridiculous proposal?
Anything is possible. I'm kind of making you aware. I don't remember that I asked our attorney about this particular case. Maybe.
No. I'm not saying about this particular case. No, it was just recently, you know.
That was for mileage. And no, we cannot do, the problem there we had to do with mileage.
Okay.
Well, I'm throwing it out there. Bottom line, I think he got screwed. So I'd like to try and fix it.
Maybe that 17 would help.
Well, I'd like to try and fix it.
I'd just like to say, I guess if it were an issue with Richard, then if it was an egregious error on our part or otherwise, why hasn't it been brought up in the last year? So, I mean, if it wasn't, I don't see how we spend more taxpayer dollars paying someone retroactively when it was never an issue in the first place. It may be a personal feeling that he was taken advantage of or screwed, but I've been to most of the board meetings and I've never seen Richard here complaining about his wages or lack of wages. So I don't think it would be justifiable, because what's next? Should we have given someone else a raise at a certain time and we retroactive them? Or, you know what? I do a lot of work. I want some retroactive pay. I don't know, but that's just my thought. Thank
Okay,
you.
that's a lot of ifs. Thank you.
Yep.
Any other comments from the board? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on, and I will have some version of a motion for the board meeting on that. And I will check with Mr. Bila on that. Mr. Bila, we can talk, I mean, he is still our attorney for everything related to the township. He just cannot do anything with the recall. Number 3, Discussion on the final inclusion language choices to zoning ordinance 55, allowing the keeping of chickens in R1. This is just a matter of schematics here, and this is a done deal. So we can all comment in any way we want. The choice now is that we either in the zoning 55 add a reference to the fact that this is going to happen and then put it as, I think it's number 11. I believe I have. Fingers. Actually, it would probably be number 10. So on the one page, we would put under number 10 that this is what's going to happen. The question to the board is, do we want to then in the zoning 55 include the whole animal ordinance thing with the change? Or do we just want to put the change in and reference? We're going to reference it either way. Do we want the whole shebang in there or not? And that's a decision that we should make today in order to get it done.
I think we should put the whole thing in.
Well, I'm gonna do that. Well, to open it up for discussion, then I'll make a motion that the final inclusion include all of the language and the reference. Do we have a second on that? Is that you, Mr. Detmer?
Yes.
Yeah, we have a second. So any further discussion?
Yes. And I'm not an attorney. We've established that. However, right now, the animal ordinance is ordinance number 35. And I believe that is a police power ordinance. Since it's a police power ordinance, if I'm correct, you can't just take a police power ordinance and add it to zoning without going through planning commission hearings and such. It's one thing to add the word, but if you're going to take, the only thing that was discussed before is the language of chickens going to be added. If you're going to take all of ordinance 35, you're going to have to dump 35 off of police powers and add that entire thing through the hearing process to amend 55. You can't just drop the whole ordinance in there.
Okay.
That's state law.
I know you're not an attorney and I know you say you read a lot.
Yep.
Let me read what he said, our attorney. The chicken ordinance amendments you can publish in their entirety, or we can draft a summary of the amendments to publish in the newspaper. We did that. After it's published, we wait the required 8 days. We can go into zoning ordinance and change the provisions right in there. Then change the last updated box, which is that one page where it would be number 10, at the front of the ordinance and upload the new version for everyone. The motion on the floor is to include the whole thing when we do this. But that's what the attorney's opinion is. I know you used to cut hair up on it, right? You had a license.
Oh yeah, lots.
Okay.
Like 900 plus clients. Booyah.
You know, we get attorney opinions and we get your opinions. The attorney,
But I
it's
also
probably
I worked for a couple law
Okay.
firms before, so
the attorney is capable of holding a pair of scissors. Does that mean he should cut the board's hair?
I'm confused.
Pretty clear. Pretty clear
Say that again.
that you're not an attorney. This is the advice from him.
Okay.
Based on you reading, the attorney can hold a pair of scissors. So we then let him cut the board's hair.
Why not? Actually, you can't in the state of Michigan because in the late 1800s, there was a law passed that you're allowed to cut your friend's hair, but you're not allowed to cut anyone else's hair. It's a violation. It's still on the books. I had over COVID because I thought it was ridiculous. But to that point, I will say that I don't just take my opinion. I have called legal scholars I know at Michigan State University, U of M, Cooley Law School, and the MTA, and they all have said the same thing. Any amendment to zoning per the Zoning Enabling Act must, by statute, go through hearings and everything else. Adding the language of chickens has been done. But if you're talking taking the whole thing, and this is what bothers me about stuff like this, and I've thought about this long and hard, and we're still in discussion. I find it interesting that for someone who's with all my research, and I know I'm not an attorney, that I can point to a statute and tell you directly what the state says per the statute and the law, of how things are supposed to get done. But yet, we get opinions through Supervisor Bertrand, through the law firm, but there's not one-sided statute of how it can be done that way, which goes against everything I'm learning through the MTA that we pay for and everything else I've been learning. So I find it fascinating that it's just always his opinion. Show me the statute that says, in violation of the statute, what MTA told me, that you don't have to go through proper procedures to amend zoning. It's right there in the Zoning Enabling Act. A fifth grader could read it or less. Maybe they wouldn't understand it, but so here we are.
Okay, any other comments from the board on a motion to include the whole language from the ordinance 35 into the zoning rather than do a summary? Any other comment from the board? Okay, hearing none. On that motion to include the language from ordinance 35 into the zoning as an explanation, and the addition on the at number 10 referencing it. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, the same.
Nay.
Okay, that motion carries 4-1. Okay, next on the agenda is a discussion on the future of the fire department and recruiting and firefighter benefits. We've all been talking about this. Clerk Byrne has some additional information, so if you want to go over it.
Thank you. I'd like to read a little statement here, and then I'll have something to say right as a bottom line. In my opinion, time has run out. In 2022, our fire chief was given a kind of an ultimatum, kind of an order by the previous board to get your full fire chief salary once you meet the state training requirements by September 21st, 2025. This did not happen. We as a board extended his time to comply with state requirements to get his full salary to the year 2026 with the provision that he complete one class towards this objective in the calendar year 2025, or he would not be granted that extension. We agreed. We looked at dates and locations, and it was decided what was best for him and not to interfere with his other duties. This was never done, nor any subsequent classes scheduled or taken. He seemed satisfied with the interim chief's pay of $1,500 a month and no intention of doing anything about it. We are not satisfied. We are missing calls regularly, and in addition to paying a salary, we have to pay outside agencies to cover these episodes. Not acceptable, in my opinion. We don't have enough qualified people to adequately cover our calls. Last year, we passed a motion on October 15th, 2025, well in attendance here of the people, to accept a document concerning fire department and EMS. It took many hours and a few meetings, some with the chief and the EMS coordinator. The proposal was for part-time crews at the firehouse Monday through Thursday and pay to stay coverage from Friday through Sunday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. temporarily, only till our fire and EMS rosters were up to a degree that we no longer were turning over our runs to other departments. We had hoped this would be in place by November 1st, 2025. Never happened. Any recruitment drive we've had has failed miserably. We came up with 3 people. I think only 2 are left. I think it's time to place an ad in the Resorter to try and attract a fully qualified person to get this department back on track. We have been patient, and now it's time to move. And, I'll accept any kind of comments we want to talk about, but I think the time has come to put that ad in the Resorter. We'll work on qualifications and things to get it published, and just to satisfy all the possible rules, get it in there for a couple of weeks and see what kind of a talent pool we can come up with. All right, thank you.
That, includes that JC can apply for it, right?
Well, certainly not exempting him.
No,
He
no,
can
yeah.
he can certainly apply for it.
We've all sat here and made statements before. I recently talked with a couple of different township supervisors. This is one of those things, that, Lake Township Fire Chief just retired after 20 years. This goes well beyond our tenure as a board, probably, most of it, at least for me. I won't see the end of it, but I would like to look towards the future as in a fire chief and get somebody in there that I'm comfortable is going to do the very best for the residents. And I'm okay. JC has been interim for over 3 years. Not saying he can't get hired if he applies, but I think we should post the position. Any other comments from the board? In reference to firefighter benefits, my thoughts are that whoever ends up in that position, and it could still be JC, has got to be the responsible person and the point man for trying to change the wage scale, the benefit package, all the stuff that relates to the fire department. Clark Pern is a past fire chief and knows a lot. We as township board members, we're kind of fumbling around in the dark. I agree with his recommendation that if we bring somebody in who knows a lot, that's a good move for the township. Now, if JC is selected and we move in a direction of having to fulfill those duties, maybe somebody else comes up who knows more and is a better addition. Anything else from the board? Would you like to wait till the board meeting to try and do a motion on that, Clerk Pern, or?
No, I don't think so. Because by the next board meeting, we will have missed another edition of the paper, and I'd like to get this ball rolling. So all I would say is I'd make a motion to post the ad in the Resorter, starting this coming week. We'll work on the exact knowledge, the exact terminology for posting this. We'll agree on that and then send it off to the paper.
I'm okay. I can make a motion that we do post the fire chief, the Lyon Township Fire Chief position to be open for applicants. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Any further discussion from the board? Okay, hearing none. I'm going to ask for a roll call on this because in some ways money is certainly involved.
Okay. Trustee Monet,
Yes.
trustee Detmer,
Yes.
treasurer Hops,
Yes.
clerk Pern. Yes. Supervisor Bertrand,
Yes.
5-0.
Okay, the motion carries with 5-0. Okay, next, and this is number 5, so striking decision. Go with discussion on pursuing a fertilizer setback ordinance for lakefront and tributaries. I'm remiss, I haven't done anything more on this. I don't know if anybody got anything they want to say. We kicked it around pretty severely. I can bring it up for a vote in the next agenda for the board meeting. If anybody, I'm just throwing it in here. If anybody had anything else they wanted to say today.
I had a couple neighbors come by, and as I've stated last time when we talked about it, they've already banned the fertilizer in their little section. We only have 8 houses, and everybody agreed. they thought the 500 was too far back. They thought maybe a couple of hundred would be better to eliminate the front yards. Because in most cases, now I'm up on a hill, so that's a little different. It's got to go through a lot of sand and everything else if it's gonna do that. But I just don't use the fertilizer at all. That's personal. But two people on our block do use it, but they use it in the back, their private road back there. And the 200 feet, 200 yards, whatever, did you decide it was feet or yards? Was it feet? Think of it.
Right in the middle of swallowing that.
Yards.
The initial things were actually feet on the waterfront, 25 feet, 50 feet. with
500 yards would be in
The other thing,
75.
the other thing that the only other, I mean, there's a 500 foot for that was related to septic ordinance, but the way that it currently is, you cannot apply fertilizer with phosphates. We talked about this. They double down on nitrates. It's all food for algae. Not that we got to beat it to death, but I guess I'd like to put a motion together for the board meeting to pursue it more diligently. We can. This was another thing I had to ask Mr. Bila about, the attorney, in regards to how and why, and he answered about farm setbacks, but then again, I'm not sure he understands that we don't have any farm stuff here.
Mhm.
Anyway, just throwing it out there if anybody had anything else new they wanted to say.
Is there any scientific papers written or something like that that says how far back uh, these chemicals could go down and get into the lake? That'd be handy to have.
You know, I had completely forgot about this. When we went through this during the sewer, what I call the sewer wars, there was certainly a strong argument to be made that fertilizer was a fertilizer is a major contributing source for nitrates. How much is one of those pick your study. And the prevailing thought was you can't tell, you can't prove a percentage. And I did some research. I'm glad you said that, because there's a company in Arizona that can tell you the presence based on doing water testing that could tell you that fertilizers are present in there. They can determine the markers from fertilizer nitrates. They cannot tell you the percentage. At that time, I suggested to the previous board, why don't we do that? Because we could do it in the spring and in the summer and the fall and set a baseline. Can't tell the percentage, but you can tell if it goes up or down. And if it turned out that we did it in the spring and it was at a certain level and then it shot up in the summer, well, that's kind of telling you something. The cost would have been, I think, $2,500 for X amount of tests. The previous board didn't even want to talk about it. But that's a good point. I'm glad. That was something, that was the only thing I could find that actually might tell you something. There are other studies that say fertilizer, the percentage of it is negligible. There are some that say it's not. You pick it. But it is not true to say you can't test for it. You can test for it. You just can't test at a percentage, but you can tell up or down.
It would be good to know that rather than just flying, throwing numbers out when you don't have any scientific evidence.
Well,
I would just like to say, if I may, that, and I've said this for a couple of years, I wish both townships or anyone that had anything to do with this lake would get on board. And this gentleman, I cut his hair for years. He's now, I'm just repeating myself, but I think it's worthwhile because it's kind of what they're saying. He's hired on, him and his crew. He's a water quality specialist at Walled Lake. They do it actively. Him and his crew go out in the boat so many times a year. If any grass or gardens or this or yards are just too green, too close to the water, they test right there. Once again, maybe not the percentage, but they can tell if fertilizer runoff is coming from those yards. And I've been saying this since early 24. I think it would be a wonderful thing. Then we know conclusively around the lake if all the townships involved, mostly obviously Garrish and Lyon, would get on board and get out of our own way and let actual water quality specialists who, I mean, that is his whole job. He drives around Walled Lake with his crew and other lakes he's been hired just to test water. That's all they do. And then they can tell exactly what's going on. Deeper depths, shallow depths, too green here. I mean, yeah, I mean, it'd be amazing, but here we are.
Well, here we are, and I'll look into the Arizona
Okay.
thing. If you want to look into that and get the information together, maybe bring it for the board meeting next week.
I'll dig it out. I've had it for 2 years.
Well, I've been.
His name's Tanner.
I've
You're-
seen this for 3, but
Yeah.
mine is when they say, "Oh, you can't tell." That's
Right.
not true. Yeah,
So I agree with.
dig it
I-
up and
I
I'll dig
think-
up the
I
other
agree
end.
with Trustee Dumper. I would be more inclined if I had something in front of me that showed, instead of just random number, because at 200 feet, well, what if that person at 200 feet's on a hill? Well, there it all goes. What if they sit this way in the lakes here? So I don't know. I just,
Okay, and the other, again, just discussion on this, and I will move it to the board meeting next week. Any other discussion from the board? Sorry. Okay, hearing none, you get that, I'll get the other part from Arizona. So
Find
let's
it.
move on. So, that was number 5. Number 6 is review a update letter from Amanda Wachowski.
Okay.
On the status of our grant application. Amanda is our grant writing consultant and expert on retail. Briefly, I'll just blast through it here. There are no copies for you guys, is there? Well, okay. E&W Consulting Group is Amanda's group. This is a report, basically. The 5-year Parks and Recreation Plan was completed. $500,000 was applied for. 75,000 trust fund DNR grant, 150,000 recreation passport DNR grant, 2,400 Roscommon Community Foundation, 10,000 Warehouser, 3,000 Clean Waters, Clean Boats, 5,000 M Parks, $250,000 Consumers Energy, 2,100 CETO, and 2,500 Michigan Township Fund. Of those, I'll read the awarded. The 2,400 Roscommon County Community Fund was awarded. 1,000 from Warehouser was awarded. 2,250 from the PAR for Phoenix Park Camera. 2,600 on clean water and boats. Pending for the 75,000 trust fund DNR grant. And the $150,000 recreation passport DNR grant, which are both huge grants related to Park 27 and Samoset. She is excellent in her research and chasing this money down. So she has got us X amount of money back. And the service fees were 5,520 for that time. We pay her X amount of money. We're ahead of the game. Easily 2 to 1, but it's those big ones, the 75,000 and 150,000 that are really going to count. Everybody in Parks and Rec, Cindy included, worked their butt off on that stuff. They are solid applications. I expect that we're going to get something out of those. So this was just her update on what had been going on up to this point.
So what, I got a question. 5520 in service fees. What is that? That
is what we have paid her so far to be chasing all of this down at an hourly rate.
okay? We've
So when
been,
you say ahead of the game, we're ahead of the great game on the awarded. But still, when the big money comes in, I shouldn't say when, if the big money comes in, that's what this is really all about. She chases money in every direction that might benefit us. Okay. Secondly, do I have it here? Yes. This is a so this, I do not want to read this. We don't need to do this today as a board. What it is Amanda, because of her excellent skill level at ferreting through state demands on applying for things, during the ice storm emergency, I asked her to be in the forefront trying to get our reimbursement money. When the ice storm hit, I was told that the money, we could get reimbursement money for anything that had to do with the storm damage. And apply through FEMA, you got to track everything, and we did. Amanda did an excellent job. I think she's got maybe 4 hours into this so far, which is astronomical when you see the paperwork you have to ferret through. So she's working with Courtney on it. This is just something kind of a legal contract where if something goes wrong in these submissions for the ice storm stuff, that we're not like holding her liable. But I'm not going to read it. I'm going to hand it to you and bring it back up at the board meeting next week. All the time and effort that went into this. Now, the latest word from the emergency management is that FEMA is not even going to be involved. It would be state. And this is news to me only right now. I'm kind of waiting to see when the other township supervisors get a hold of this. So you're really only talking about state money. So when we had the ice storm, we told, go get it. You can get reimbursed. Then it came down to, you have to do matching. Now it's kind of, there isn't even going to be a FEMA. So the state money that might have been left, now the flooding took precedent over the ice storm. So good game plan, put it together, got it ready to go. I'm not real sure we're going to see a nickel of this. So that is the update on the grants, and that is from her. I'll bring it back up next week. I think we should approve this because it's just a standard agreement with somebody that we're not going to try and hold them liable if we don't get the reimbursement money. She did a real good job. As a sideline, our emergency management could not supply answers. I've worked very hard to do extra things for her. Couldn't get anything in return. Amanda, with her skill level, pushed it. Asked specific questions, did not get answers for 4 days, and then finally got these answers that there is no fee. So God bless her for staying on.
Is there more to this than just this page?
Just that page.
This is a ice storm contract.
Yeah, it's a contract to make sure that we're not going to end up suing her if we don't get reimbursement.
There should be some signatures involved in this?
Well, I'm going to bring it back up. Yeah, I'm passing it out to you then next week. Probably, if we pass it, then the clerk would sign and the supervisor would sign.
Have we slipped into number 7 as well?
Is that what I did? Yes, I did, without saying so. Yes, I did. So any comment now? I don't want to. I want to do the motion for that after you have time to look at it. I get it. I get where this is going. It's probably a good idea. Any other comment from the board on that? He, through documentation, has exceeded $9,000 that we could potentially get reimbursed. All ice storm damage, cracked it, can prove it. We'll see what happens. Okay. Number 8 is to discuss creation of an ad hoc committee to pursue a Lyon Township 4th of July parade. Where's Sam when you need him? And, or the same for Mr. Barta's suggestion to research the effects of fireworks on the lake. I think that somebody suggested to me, besides those suggestions, an ad hoc committee. I think that's a great idea. I know myself, I'm too busy. Probably Clerk Pern and Mr. Hops may be too busy, probably. I had thought that maybe Mr. Monet would agree to maybe chair an ad hoc committee to look into these two things. And that's as far as I got with it, right there.
I looked up a few things from the past, and the last time we had something was before our epidemic of 2020. And I talked to Sam, and then I talked to Diane, and I'm having a hard time getting anybody that would put these things together. But we're already very late getting the specialty people here. They were talking about police and other fire departments and the county stuff all coming together with maybe a few dignitaries from the state that would stop by. So the parade is a very short one. It starts at Phoenix.
It's a lofty expectation.
But I think we're late again. We're already into May. We've only got the July 4th. I've done some checking. I got some people that will help, but they don't want to take the leadership role. Amy Mason was another one that volunteered to help.
Do you think that they would be willing to get on a committee and try and work something out?
I think certainly that would, that may work out. Yeah, I think they need to be asked and
Yeah,
put something together.
well, that's way loftier. When my kids were young, they all rode bikes dressed up in the fire truck when they all went down on the West Higgins Lake Drive. I don't remember seeing dignitaries or anything, but I didn't go there any.
Well,
But I don't know if that's what Sam was suggesting in that. Anyway, I'm not gonna chase it down, but somebody said, why don't you see if you can get an ad hoc committee? Maybe Mr. Monet is interested. Any other thoughts on this?
Not so sure.
Well,
Have they ever done this before?
they used to have parades, but not to the extent that he was just mentioning. Sam brought this up last year, yeah, but Mr. Pern said it's kind of late, but late for what? I mean, if you want to get AMVET's fire department and such together and go down West Higgins Lake Drive and throw candy to the kids. I don't know.
Anybody up for?
I know I'm too busy and I'm getting recalled, so I'll be too busy.
I just don't know where I'd have time. I start 60 hours a week next week and I have more needs coming up here. But before the 4th, hopefully, so I just don't know when. So,
Well,
not that I wouldn't have any input, but
This should have been brought up like 4 months ago.
yeah.
well, suggestions are only a month or 6 weeks ago.
yeah, that was just a little while ago. They said some of the people like the different bands and the police people and all the other stuff was they get booked up as early as January.
What about the Parks and Rec Committee? I think they should be.
But
Well, maybe we'll hear from
they'd have
Ms. Pops before the end of the day. I just throwing it out there. If Mr. Monet wanted to take the lead, I know you're a busy guy. We're all busy.
Busy though. Yeah.
We're all busy.
Yeah, we're all busy.
Part of this discussion stemmed from the three of us have statutory duties. The trustees have duties as we might see fit to try and assign or stick you with. I don't want to stick you with it.
Right.
But maybe. Okay, so I'm gonna say you're not gonna move in that direction, but I don't want to bring it up again.
Not at this point.
Okay. moving on then to what I have as number 9, am I right? Handicap swing?
That's right.
You have a picture here of an adult full sport swing. Is this coming from you from Parks and Rec, Kevin?
Yes, this is from Leanne.
All right,
So those are the two cheaper ones that she found. Is there a grant? Or are they using some money from a grant for these or no?
I believe
Remember,
the warehouse grant, Amanda,
yeah,
Amanda said the warehouse grant could be used for this purpose.
okay.
Well,
So whether they get the grant or not, I think we still have to order one of these, right?
as far as fulfilling the obligations on the complaint about Samoset Park, yes.
Okay, so I mean, I would just say this, the bottom one is probably the one you want to go with. It's for an adult and it also can be for a teenager where the teenage is only limited to 180 pounds where the adult's 280.
Hmm.
So, I mean, it's a little bit more money, but just wanted to throw that out there. I don't know if I vote on this to get it going or do it
Well,
next week or.
let me break the protocol here. Are you aware of this, Cindy? So are you guys okay with this, or was this something you were gonna talk about at Friday's meeting?
Sort of, nice, terminology, get a stopgap, get a big DNR, total revamp of the play structure, include the travel side, those would still be in there. So it's kind of a stopgap. We're not gonna hear pretty much.
Yeah.
And that will allow, if it's, like, somewhere in that, allow them some recreation.
If this is coming from you to us, I'm okay with making a motion that we approve the purchase of the second one at the 6/13/31.
Yeah, $613.31.
Would that hold a 3-year-old child? Without them slipping right out of it?
About 6 of them.
Yeah. Right, but my point is though, don't
The,
kids have disabilities too that we?
yes, but the complaint was specific that a person could not get their
Oh,
adult
don't know that.
partner
Okay,
in a wheelchair.
okay,
Um,
sure.
Again, this is, as she said, stopgap
Yeah.
to solve a complaint.
Yep.
And further solutions were all included in the grants going forward.
That ADA pamphlet is huge.
Well, yeah.
It's just huge. This would be part of one. This is a must do, and I think the small child one would be a must do. But other than that, I don't want to waste any money, but we've got a certain amount of time to comply with all their rules, and they have extended it for another year. So we have a while yet, but it's a start,
Yeah.
and it's a pretty good start.
Okay, this is not ADA in relation to that. It is in relation to an ADA complaint
Right.
from last year.
Mm-hmm.
So the new fall material is in, the sand was moved around, wheelchair access was improved. The inspector said if you put a swing there, you're good.
I think that's where we gotta go then.
Okay.
I'd say make your motion.
All right, so I'm gonna make a motion that the township board approve the Park and Recreation and Cemetery Committee's recommendation to purchase this adult support swing at a price of $613.31. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, any further discussion from the board?
Is there sales tax?
Should be for us.
Right.
Okay, second, further discussion? Okay, hearing none, can we have a roll call, please? Click one.
Sure. Cliff Kern, yes. Treasurer Hop,
Yes.
Trustee Monet,
Yes.
Supervisor Bertrand,
Yes.
trustee Detmer.
Yes,
Okay, motion carries 5-2. Next, pricing at the compost gate. You're up.
So you guys have everything I have,
Yeah.
Boss Fence of St. Helens. Will install a Liftmaster gate. All the mechanical. We will buy all the wiring, do the ditch witch ourselves, run the conduit, run the wire, and have, Top Notches do the final hookup. Or the two hookups, one from the building, one to the actual fence. So it's just this paid over $10,000 for everything. What I will say is I did some research on the people we currently have that have flags, and it's right around maybe just a shade over 500 in the township. So what I would propose is a one-time fee of $20, not per year, a one-time fee, which would grant access Monday through Saturday, 9 to 3. There'll be no attendant needed there. You can come and you go. You'll get your own code. Come in the office, fill out the paperwork. So we have your license plate number, address, and all that good stuff. So if something does happen, we know on camera who it was. And then we can pull their number if, they're dumping illegal materials there. So I think overall, it's a good thing, and it'll save us money on having an attendant there. Not that we don't have our maintenance guys in and out regardless, Monday through Friday, coming and going. So I just think this would be, because a lot of people we get calls saying, oh, you're only open Wednesdays and Saturdays certain months, and Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday certain months. So at least when people don't have to wait and they want to go on a Monday and letting everything pile up till Wednesday and then go in. For $20 a one-time fee, I think is, I know not to include other townships, but there's a little less, to the tune of $10. But it's a new investment for the township, so a one-time fee I think is fair for everybody. So I don't know if you guys want to make a motion or wait till next week to do it. That's fine.
that
Right.
doesn't count commercial, does it?
No, commercial will still be paying their $800 for sure.
And they will get a same idea that they'll get the same.
Yeah, right now they have a key.
Okay.
So yeah, they'll get a code. Everyone will have a code. And like I said, you'll come in, you'll fill out like an application type thing, where you pay $20, you get your code. We have all the information on hand, address, license, plate number. So if something does, like I said, happen, we can
And
go
this
in
is
the.
not recycling at all. Just compost or the recycling bins going back inside.
Don't complicate it.
Yeah,
Well, I need to know.
Oh, no, this will be for compost, and you can drop off metal as well, yeah.
Oh, no, I'm talking about the recycling bin.
Oh, no.
Goes going back inside the gate, so everybody will have to get, because I don't need a compost site, so I don't need to get a $20 tag. I have.
Oh,
compost.
The,
Well, not really.
the recycle bins, yeah, those will still be outside.
Okay, because people are gonna ask, because that's
Yeah.
been done before, are they?
Right now, we don't have room for them inside anyways. We're trying to clean up that mess.
that was part of the agreement though at one time to keep that fee low, make it a one-time thing
Mhm.
and make the bins accessible, but to the residents of Land Township and not other people.
But it's not right now, that's not.
That's not gonna happen
Okay.
right now.
All right.
Well, typically no. At this point in time, anyway.
Well, once your code goes in, that license, if your license plate doesn't. Yes, everyone will have a different, code. Yes, it'll store up to, I think it stores up to 750 codes in it. So everybody will have, yes, you'll have your own code.
You wanna put it off or you wanna vote?
Up to you guys. But,
Well, it's up to you. You brought it here. I'm okay. A $20 one-time fee. Well, what was the exact cost total you had?
Here over 10,
it's like 10, 8,
original 10,000, so very low.
really like $10,050.
All right, so 500 tags at $20 is 10,000.
Right.
Um, I'm okay with it now or next week. Either way, if you offset the cost, even if we have an attendant there on the busier days, we're still not paying the attendant all the time.
Mm-hmm. What do you wanna do?
We can bring it to a vote if you want. I'm good with that. We can make a motion.
I need to have probably an exact number for the or a number to not exceed.
Not exceed 11,000.
All right, I can do that. So I'll make a motion that we follow through and purchase a new gate for the compost site from Boss Fence at a cost not to exceed $11,000. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion from the board?
Yes, I'd just like to say no disrespect to anyone. I appreciate all the efforts, but I have a hard time voting on stuff without an exact number, so. I just feel way more comfortable when we have actual hard numbers for the people, but that's me.
Okay, motion is on the floor at 11. Or not to exceed 11, excuse me. Is there any other comments from the board? Okay, hearing none, certainly money. Could we have a roll call, please?
Trustee Detmer,
Yes,
Treasurer Huff,
Yes.
Supervisor Bertrand,
Yes.
Trustee Monet,
No.
Clerk Kern, yes.
This, me. All right, motion carries 4-1. Next, but certainly not least, Mr. Hobbs, you're on deck again.
This the fire department.
Yeah.
Yeah, this I would like to vote on today. Because the township hall is getting done May 30th, which we already approved from last year that didn't get done for the seal coating. So the same company will come out, and the fire department hasn't been done in 5 years. And I was over there with them, and it's in need of it. And they said they can actually do both of them on the same weekend, May 30th. So if we want to vote on this, I mean, to let them know, I need to let them know yes or no. So it's, 5 years, it's about what you get out of the asphalt, the seal, the rubber seal. So, I mean, I looked at it, it was only up, when they did it last, it was $4,500 5 years ago. So it's gone up a few $100, which is understandable from 5 years. So I'd like to make a motion to approve this ideal asphalt seal coating for the Lyon Township Fire Department at $49.60 even.
I'll give you a second so you can open for discussion.
Okay, we have the motion, we have the second. Any discussion from the board? I would say that the more you do it, the longer it lasts. And neglecting it does not save you anything in the long run. Very similar to what the road commission does with that seal coat and tar. on our recently paved roads because that extends it by 5 to 7 years.
And then also too, if you look at the description on that includes same as out here, redoing the lines, adding lines, doing the handicap lines. So with ours, we're gonna add those lines out along the back. Yeah, it's
They were gonna put in 2 more.
up front, the,
Caps for us, so. Okay.
Any other discussion from the board? Okay, on the motion as stated by Treasurer Hobbs. Again, money, could we have a roll call, please?
Sure. Cliff Fern, yes. Supervisor Bertrand,
Yes,
trustee Detmer,
Yes,
treasurer Hub,
yes,
trustee Monet.
Yes.
okay, carries 5-0. Next is the GFL contract.
yeah, I didn't have time to make copies for you guys, but I will do that. Basically, it's, all the wording's pretty much the same as the other contract, other than the numbers are different. So, like I said, 2026 will start June 1st, which is next month. Currently, we pay 1654 per unit. They're gonna drop that to 1590 per unit for 2026, then 4%, 2027, which brings it back to the original 1654 that we're currently paying. So 2028 is when we actually will see an actual increase. Now, then who knows, if we have to raise it 4% to match what they raised us. I don't know. I mean, by then we don't know how much money or how much revenue we can generate out at the compost area to offset some of this, or 3 years from now is a long time, so. But, no fuel surcharges for the duration of the contract. I'll get copies to you guys so you at least look it over.
We'll vote on it at the board meeting then?
Tell you what, yeah, because it's gonna start June, on the 30th, so I'll get those those done today, or actually, I'll probably just forward you the email. I should have done that to begin with, so.
Where I was on this a couple of weeks ago, as far as if there was any connection with a lawsuit, whether I was right or wrong. On the other money they owe us.
Right,
Mr. Beela responded, that we could go in a couple of different directions. And I pursued it a little bit with him and he didn't respond, which is as good of an indication of it being a 50-50 thing. I'm not so much interested in that, except what you just said sparked me on why, part of why we were tracking down the other money that they owed us. The last contract was very similar to what you're describing, where they front loaded it with a low cost and then made it up at the end. And that was one of the reasons we got in the rears with this thing. So is there a definitive amount of years on this new contract, and on the last 2 years, is it already written in there that it's going up?
40% for the duration of this contract.
Okay, so how many years is it not going up?
It's not going up this year, it's going down this year. Like I said, we were paying 1654 currently. As of June 1st, we will be paying 1590 till May 31st of next year. Then it goes up 4% back to 1654, which we're currently paying now. Then,
How many years after that?
yeah, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. It's a 7-year contract.
Okay, because another way to look at that is that they're going to charge us 2%. It's just going to go over a 7-year period. Now, not that I'm against that, but I mean, I did not, that last contract, that there was a lot of accusations that that board bit right into the first thing because they said no raise.
But-
Well, it was front loaded.
And also the last contract, they had 2,401 homes, which is
Yeah,
ridiculous. There's only 2,319, so they were being overcharged for the last, who knows how many years.
right, but not that I'm opposed to 2% a year as far as an operating cost. But this is not free, not going down over the span of this contract. It's going to be X amount of money raised.
Well, I'll say this, I mean, for not having to raise garbage fees for 1, 2, 3 years is pretty good in my book.
But in a 7-year span, if you go to,
It's not, you're never not going to raise it. I mean,
no, I'm not,
I'm just saying, I think for the last 3 years, it's
nothing for 3 and then 4 for 3 is pretty much to 2 every year,
yeah, which is, I think,
which, maybe that's okay. It's just the way that they're wording it. It's not, they're not giving us.
no, but I think it's.
Cost of living.
Yeah, cost of living.
Actually, less than that.
I know, yeah.
So I'll send this out to you guys and you can look at it.
Cool.
Okay,
Thank you.
We'll go from there.
that works. Any other comments from the board? And look at you, Mr. Hoffs, you're a busy guy.
Oh,
Look at the utility authority.
oh, yeah. So this, I definitely come June when we go to appoint these people, I read their article of incorporation. And it says we can appoint a board member to that board.
I thought you were already volunteering.
I'm going to volunteer myself to do it because I think, I'm not gonna disparage the people we have there now, but I think we need a change. They're not looking out for the residents, which are their customers. I think, their quarterly fees are $215. Here's an example of, I don't even know if this is legal. The quarterly, you guys got these, by the way, all this email. The quarterly disconnection cabin fees from the sewer systems that people who are in arrears will be spread out amongst the remaining cabin owners. Which I find a little, I mean, you're telling me, so the quarterly people who don't pay, you're gonna shut them off, but then charge the fee amongst the rest of the camp, like that's why I when it comes June, I wanna, get into this appointing people a little better.
Really? That's
The cost of running a sewer system is never gonna be what they tell you in the start.
Well, they never, you're gonna have to pay for your deadbeat neighbor who doesn't pay for taxes.
Yeah, I can see, like you're saying, if that's legal, I can see them saying, yeah, but you're in the scope of the system. And therefore
I don't know.
you can be charged.
I was in a sewer system when I lived downstate and I know there were people shut off and
Well,
I didn't get their cost added to my bill.
My thing would be, is it in any kind of their bylaws or otherwise that they have a right to offset charges and debits, if you will, that are not shored up to the other people straight away? I'm not paying for anyone else's
Nothing.
stuff.
No. So I just wanted to bring that up.
no, I
Yeah,
like
Right, yeah.
where that's going.
Yeah.
We do need to look out for those people.
wow.
Yeah, 90% of that sewer is in Lyon Township. Absolutely. Which brings me to the other point that I'm not sure why we only have 50% say in what goes on when we have 90% of the.
Debated for a long time.
Yeah, that one's an old,
Yep.
Well,
A lot of us in here remember.
when you get to be on board,
you'll, one of these days, not a lot of discussion.
yeah, absolutely. There's more to say about that, but not today. Anything else from the board?
No, thanks, Kevin.
Okay, then number 15,
That's fine.
Mr. Monet, wanted to talk about short-term rentals, and in lieu of the fact that our attorney is coming and you're aware, then
Yep.
what do you have for?
So basically, yeah, there's a special meeting called for next Tuesday. I cannot be here. I have a full-time job. There's just no way I can see Ron and be here. And this would be my one opportunity that I would really like to meet Mr. Bila because we've never met him ever. And, there seems to be a lot of disconnect and I think one of the reasons I would want to talk to him is because a lot of what he says is everything that we've agreed on for zoning and otherwise. So I don't understand all of this, almost animosity, if you will, because for me, I'm kind of tired of Mr. Bila being the sixth board member. That instead of us coming up with some logical decision-making policies or otherwise, and then we reach out to legal by a vote or otherwise, or just to do it, it seems like what ends up happening is that, and that's fine. I mean, that's what he chooses to do. The Supervisor Bertrand will reach out to the attorney and then say, this is the direction we should go just because he says that, which kind of disregards anything that we come up with. So that's here nor there. So to make sure this is done the right way in lieu of things that have happened in the past, I am respectfully asking this board to give me permission to address Mr. Bila with all my questions, comments, and concerns of everything I've talked about for the last few months, with Supervisor Bertrand being carbon copied on that email, and I want the questions to come from me. I don't want an interpretation of the questions. I don't want someone else's opinion on the questions. As a sitting board member, I want my questions answered. Thank you.
I have no problem with that. If you type it up, it can get to him. This will be videoed, of course. This came about because, it's a good idea to get him here. He was available.
Yeah.
And the question came up of, well, what if Timothy can't be there? And then I realized you posted a special meeting when I was on vacation.
Which I never
So
knew.
we're not concerned about that.
Fine.
But,
Fair and loving.
well, that's why I'm saying I agree with you.
Yeah.
Type up whatever you want. I'll give it to him verbatim.
No,
It's on top. No, I mean, excuse, wrong words. I will hand him the document.
nope. I
Would
want
you
to,
like to-
I want the board's permission because I was pretty much told I could not contact the attorney in a sense. I want the board's permission that I will directly email the attorney myself as a sitting board member. And I will carbon copy Supervisor Bertrand, and he will have all the information that I personally send to the attorney. I do not need anyone to hold my hand and go through you to hand something to Mr. Beeler or otherwise. And it has to get to him before next Tuesday so he can mull this over because it's going to be quite lengthy and I can't be here next Tuesday. So I'd like to get it done as soon as possible. But I want the board's permission so it's on record that I didn't overstep anyone's, I didn't step on anyone's toes, and I got permission from this board to email the attorney myself.
As the township legal agent, I'm gonna say I don't agree with that. But the board can certainly vote on it. The reason being, in the past, I have gotten your documents and sent to him and he has given answers. And then you go into a lengthy litany of disagreeing with him. You are not our attorney on retainer. So I have sent them to him before. He has answered. You have got those answers and then it just lights you on fire.
That's not what I'm asking for.
Okay.
I will only email him the once.
This is, in either case.
Yeah.
I'm the legal, actually, you're probably aware, I can't resign as legal agent. It's my damn job.
Has nothing to do.
I would not be in favor of this because you, as any other resident, can forward things to him. But we could certainly put it to a vote.
Legal agent has nothing to do statutorily speaking as far as the right to
It
let
is.
other board members talk to the
No,
attorney.
it doesn't, but I am, the statutory duty is that I am the legal agent. My suggestion is no. We can put it to the board.
Well, I'm coming to the board because if I wanted to,
Well, you are.
I don't need anyone's permission to contact the attorney. I've been told that numerous times. I'm doing it out of respect for this board because the board has put into place that only Supervisor Bertrand would have communication with him. And everything that I've worked on, I have questions and I feel as a sitting board member, I'm an adult. I don't need anyone to hold my hand. I think it's only fair and justified that I get the direct answers to my questions through Mr. Bila himself, not through a third party. I don't need anyone else to speak for me. So I'd like to make a motion that with this board's
Hang on.
permission,
Yes. See, we're already out a little bit. Let's hear.
I would just say seeing as trustee Monet can't be here, I don't know, what's the big deal? Let him send his questions and get the answers. He can read them when he's here with us. Beal.
Nothing really other than I disagree. That's fine.
If he can't be here to ask him a question, I don't see what the big deal is to let him send him to him.
I hear you. Please remember that our protocol keeps it going. You make the motion and we'll vote. Either way, it's not gonna matter.
We're not done discussing yet.
Okay.
Oh, he needs a motion too, then we can.
I would just like to motion the board that I be allowed to personally email the attorney with my questions, comments, and concern regarding a short-term rental ordinance, and Supervisor Bertrand will be carbon copied and will receive all that same information. And I'm assuming the responses in return before next Tuesday's special meeting that I cannot attend. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Open for discussion.
Okay, and now then we're open for discussion. This is, well, I didn't like the part that I don't need anybody's permission to talk to the lawyer, but out of respect for the board, I'm bringing it to you. That's two-faced right there. I don't need the permission, but I'll ask you anyways. I don't like that way of doing things. I'm not sure that I like Paul's way of doing things, because when he sends something in there, it's definitely from his perspective that he's asking the question. Mr. Beeler does the best he can, I think, to come back with an answer. That's all right. I don't want to deny you permission to do it, but I don't like to sit you saying I don't need permission. If you had permission from the board to do it, I think that's another thing, but I didn't like that particular language that you used. Okay?
The current setup is that, I float things to Mr. Beela as general ideas before I ever bring them to the board, just to try and figure out whether we're doing something illegally or not. If it's gonna be something we move forward with, I generally try to copy Clerk Pern so that he's aware on our end. And then it is actually up for discussion. If it goes further, I then share it with the rest of the board. I mean, if it makes it that far. That's the current setup.
I don't know how that got to be the current setup. I wasn't on it originally, and then I was, but I have never offered any input to any of that. I have questions afterwards. I want to get copied.
Yeah,
I get copied of the questions and I get copies of the answers. So that's not exactly the same.
no, but that was what we decided to do the last time Mr. Monet, don't mean to point at,
That's fine.
was complaining about this process as far as me being the legal agent. So it came down to.
I can't complain about that.
Or no, I mean, I myself as legal agent am the only one that has access to the attorney, and the solution was to copy you. And that's what we kind of been doing when it was something that was going to make it past preliminary, is this even legal or?
I didn't particularly like that setup, but that's neither here nor there.
Okay, but that was a resolution months ago on how we would do this,
Okay.
and that's fine.
If I can add one, go ahead, Clerk Pern, excuse me, if you want to say something. Did you want to say something more? Oh, I thought you were going to say.
No, I'm done.
I would just like to say too, I mean, like, I just know that I put a lot of research and time into like looking at different ideas for a short-term rental ordinance. And I just feel like that instead of me calling legal friends of my own or always calling the MTA, why not have access just once or only by board permission to let me get those answers from the attorney that we pay for, so I can cross-reference that with everything else I've put together. It would just make sense. Otherwise, I feel like for me, and it's not necessarily that I have to be combative, but I'll be stuck here because I have this group telling me this. I can't talk to our attorney, so there's nothing coming from this side. So there's like, I don't know. And I'm sorry. I do respect Supervisor Bertrand, but like, I don't totally agree with what he hears from Mr. Bila, because it's not the actual emails all the times. I'm getting his version of it. And I don't want a version. I want what I know to be true from the source. So
It is,
How many
There-
questions are you gonna ask them?
I don't know right now.
Well, see, that could be an issue. Because you have a tendency to be a bit verbose, and I
Sure,
can see
sure.
you sending a document that's this thick for him.
No, it's basically just.
yeah, we'll say that. He's gonna come here for estimated amount of hours for an estimated wage. If he touches paper outside of that, it is the same cost. He will give us, he will answer texts and stuff, not charges, but it's a lot of money. If he touches paper, it's money.
Well, I'm not giving him paper, so see if he touches the email. Yes, I don't know.
You know,
I mean,
what I'm saying.
yeah,
You're putting him to a task instead of giving you a quick answer. You do that, there's gonna be a cost.
Well, it's a pretty important task, in my opinion, that we're.
It might be,
might have to-
the reason I'm saying that is I'm sure you remember this, Timothy, when we were running for office, the board was doing a police power septic ordinance, and you professed up and down and left and right that they had to give us proof of how, as residents, we were being threatened to where they could use a police power to do it. And I was right with you. 2.5 months, hammered on the old board, hammered on the GLUA board.
No, I didn't say that. I had
Okay,
to.
okay, hang on.
Difference.
And then they brought in their attorney, Mr. Schultz, from R.A. Schultz. And I will never forget that, because you ended up saying all of that again. And it was similar to the time in GLUA where that attorney said the difference between you and me is you're smart enough to put that together, but I have a law degree. In that case, Mr. Schultz said your interpretation is wrong. So yes, to a certain degree, yes, but we went through this and you don't stop easily. To your credit, maybe. I'm okay, but I think, Mr. Detmer is right. It's gonna be money. It can't be well, it can be if the board wants to let you do it. But I mean, if there was some way to narrow it down, he charges in 10-minute increments. Either way, I can live with it either way. It's just that I've been down this road enough times already, but
I don't have a problem with him asking a few questions. I just don't want to see it,
Well, let me get something straight. Is the motion to ask permission for this particular singular time to talk to the attorney via email or text, whatever you're gonna do, without any interference?
Strictly limiting it to
Was it
police
he-
power, stuff. That's it.
okay.
Bar short.
Not anything, then it won't really turn into your rebuttals to him and you trying to tell him he's wrong, because then there's more money.
No, there won't be any rebuttals. And really.
I can live with that.
I'm thinking that's
Was
reasonable.
he not available Wednesday,
Who?
the attorney?
No, he's coming back from,
This could have been all avoided if we just did it Wednesday.
That's my idea.
but I didn't, because I can call special meetings and that's what I did, because he's passing through.
And at the end of the day, I don't need to go on a lengthy rebuttal, because if he's so inclined to respond, then at any future board meeting, I can then at that time take that information and work with, then I don't need to go back and forth with him. Not at
You have not shown that trait in the past, but I admire it if you're gonna go that way.
Well, I haven't contacted him except that 2 times.
I have-
Once.
Forwarded your stuff and his back to you, and you just keep going. And that's fine. Let's have.
Let's vote on it.
Do you want to read the motion?
I'll state it again for the.
Oh, yeah. That I be given permission, that trustee Monet be given permission to contact the attorney, Michael Bila, concerning the short-term rental ordinance via email, with Supervisor Bertrand being carbon copied with no interference from anyone else.
And not precedent setting.
Well, that's fine. Okay, this one time.
I'll second that.
Concern STR, right?
It's STR only. That's it.
Okay, well, since there probably will be some money involved, I think a roll call is necessary. Sure. Trustee Detmer,
Yes.
Treasurer Hobbs,
Yes.
Clerk Pern, yes. Trustee Monet,
Yes.
Supervisor Bertrand,
No.
motion carries 4-1.
Thank you.
Okay, what's next here? Martin Philby.
I'm
Mark.
I'm gonna be very, very light on that.
We approved a contract back in November of $5,800 for Mr. Schulte and for Shelby, and need him to finish work when weather permitted. He ran into some tough stuff and an ice storm of things. He's finished his work. Supervisor Bertrand has looked at it and he's satisfied with it. I just want to make a motion to pay him his 5,800. And then I have a little addendum that, Treasurer Hopkins had after that. But this is not, this isn't a money issue because we've already voted on this. So I just need to yell your nay to pay the man his money.
Want me to make the motion for discussion? Is there any? I'll make the, motion that we pay Martin Shelby the amount of money that we approved for in a contract for the tree services he performed at Lion Town.
Second.
Okay. We have a second. Is there any discussion? I would add that there was several things in here that, this took care of some oak wilt problems, took care of some dead limb problems, took care of some dead tree problems. We are ongoing in 2 different sets of trees where we treated them 2 different ways for oak wilt to see what the outcome might be. I went out there and looked all the trees that had dead limbs that I asked them to take out, he got to. The trees he was supposed to cut, he got to, he ground the stumps. The trees he was supposed to just drop and leave there, he did. Then he went back and did some extra work and cut some of the stuff that he dropped down to make it look a little less noticeable on the side of the soccer field. I think in 2 places I saw tire tracks. That was it. I'm more than satisfied. And this is actually the tail end of it. I mean, we've been playing with this for a long time.
Well, he did something already. He had a $4,000 bid for some things to get rid of some dangerous limbs that hung over the
Right.
playground equipment, and he did that pretty darn quick. I will say that.
Well, all the tree stuff, other than waiting to see which treatment works best on oak wilt, is now done. I'm pretty happy about that.
But all for the question. Pay him his money.
Well, okay, any other discussion from the board? Okay, money, can we have a roll call on that, please?
Sure, trustee Monet,
Yes.
Clerk Fern, yes. Treasurer Hobbs,
Yes.
trustee Detmer,
Yes. Yes.
Supervisor Bertrand.
Yes. Okay, carries 5-0.
Okay, now just a little continuation. I will say after this, and I agree with Treasurer Hobbs, that the trees that he felled just dropped. Kind of looked like hell from old 27. You can see it now because the bushes haven't grown up and all this stuff yet. More than that, you can see it from the soccer field. He's done a pretty good job. But when that thing came up, when the bill came up, Paul gave it to me a couple of days ago. I just checked some things out. And then we had a little call to Mr. Shelby. Well, did you do this? Was it what you wanted? We're trying to investigate. I said, yes, this is what I was asked to do. And I said, okay. And then we have somebody called the negotiator that I gave this bill to. And I said, would you care to call Mr. Shelby? And Kevin did call him. he's willing to move those logs out of sight. We have a lot of land back there. Move those logs out of sight, and he's willing to get rid of all the brush that's around there for a fairly ridiculous low price.
I mean, I don't know if you guys know this, but it looks awful.
Because
It's a big pile of logs on top of each other,
Well,
all different ways. So I would just say for $400, let him go in there, get rid of it, move it out, take the brush to the land or to the compost and done. Cause they're gonna sit there for years like that.
yeah, I was not aware he had done that. He went back once on my account because there was one, the contract said drop 'em, and he did. One of them got hung up on a live oak. He went back and cut that one out. I actually was thinking we could ask our maintenance crew to go over there and move that. But if you want to pay him $400 to do it, that's
that seems like a ridiculously cheap price for clearing up an eyesore. It really was.
Those are big trees.
they're big trees, but then, and again, that's all blackberry bushes or bushes there. But you're right, it's there. I don't care if you want to.
Whether you wanna wait till he does, why don't you we'll give him permission to go do that, once we get him paid, and says, give us a date, we'll do that.
Yeah, that's fine.
So, I wanted to open it up for discussion and tell you that he was a reasonable person.
He is a reasonable person.
That was a good rate.
One thing. We are now, as soon as nighttime temperatures average 40 degrees, we should not be messing with any live oaks. Or, well, trying to think of right there. You might have to have one more conversation with them about, move them, yes, but if you move them and you start smacking into the bigger existing oak trees and create wounds on them, it's kind of an issue.
Okay, sure.
But if he can just he's got a couple different machinery sets. Just get him out of the way and run over some brush. That ain't a big deal. But if you're smacking into a 12-inch oak, that might be.
So pay special attention to the left.
5 dead ones down and make 4 more.
Okay, done. That was the last one. 15.
Oh, my Lord Almighty. I think that's the end of the agenda. So in keeping with public comments always being last whenever we can, I had an announcement. But I already did the recall language and the other one was the special meeting for Tuesday. So we're good with this. And as far as I know, we are now open for public comment. So if anybody would like to come up and say anything, all right, I have. Is that green from here? Oh, it's not on. Oh, it's not. You're looking.
Afternoon, Joe Smith again.
I'm gonna have to back off a little because I think your voice might have been one of the ones.
Yeah.
It's another one of those Smith boys.
Yeah. I keep foot though, because I think your voice was one of the ones that was garbling up on that.
Okay, great, no problem. Couple of things, it becomes apparent, watching you guys that, it makes you wonder why Mr. Bila is coming at all, honestly. The board decided about, how the approach to the STR was going to be going. So it seems like it's more trying to still figure out where we're going on that. So it seems unusual why he would be coming. But moreover, it's also apparent Tim probably has the most questions about this. Paul probably trying to prove a point of what he really would like, maybe, I don't know, but Tim's got the most questions. The other three board members, God bless you guys, but you don't seem to have that quite as many questions. So it does seem like you'd focus a meeting around getting Tim's questions answered. Having a board member who has any questions, any one of 5 of you guys, seems like it would be, you would allow them to make those questions. And it seems preposterous that you would throttle somebody from not allowing them to ask questions. And scheduling a meeting, not being sensitive to the fact that other people can't make it for anybody, I think is insensitive. And so holding this meeting, I understand it has to be a called meeting, but why not just do a Zoom? Get Mr. Beal on a phone call and do a Zoom when everybody can be there. So then you can get all everybody's questions answered. To throttle somebody, to say, look, by email because you just can't be here. I think that he has the most questions, so you should probably pay a little bit more attention to that individual.
Can I tell you something that might clear it up a little?
Sure.
This is not for me to prove a point. He is absolutely correct that when I'm interpreting things of bringing that language here, and then if people don't believe it because it's coming through me, that was the point. He offered to come here to meet people and talk with the public. It just happened to be that he's coming through here Tuesday.
I appreciate that, Paul. And that sort of brings me to what I think that most organizations avoid one-person control of legal information. They usually have more than one person sitting in. So I think the resolution that allows only Paul to communicate with that attorney is probably poor governance, honestly. Because what happens is things get selectively summarized. They get taken out of context. Board members are being excluded from important decisions. So I think that having only one person, those things can happen. Now, I'm not saying that they are. If you have another person sitting in, you have another set of ears and can ask questions and clarify. It's good because the attorney can also hear questions and then understand. They ensure everyone understands that the same guidance that the attorney is saying things and everybody gets the same chance. So I would highly recommend that from a good governance perspective, that no one talks to the attorney unless there's two people, because then at least you get multiple opinions, multiple questions and clarification, and there's more trust, because the dysfunction that seems to be happening right now is hugely frustrating, I think, for probably all of the residents. And to say, look, as a legal representative, fine, but that doesn't mean you're the only guy who can talk to him. That means that, the resolution stops, but I do think it makes sense that you might have more than one person talking to the attorney whenever that call has to be made. That's my opinion.
Thanks, sir.
Thanks, John.
I would add one thing, John. You said board members are sometimes excluded on important issues. That is definitely not the case. When some issue comes up, and as soon as I get it, it's emailed to every person on this board exactly the next time I get at my tip rate. They get it. Then they get a hard copy in their box. Whether they commit to get the hard copy, no, sir.
I apologize. I mean, on legal things.
Well, you understand? Now I understand that.
And I from an ordinance perspective, ordinances are all going to require legal work, legal opinions. And if you have one person talking to an attorney about ordinances, that one person can have an agenda. And I'm not saying that you do, but if that person has an agenda and he comes back and describes what the attorney says, there can be a trust issue there. And I think, Paul, you need to avoid that. You need to include somebody there so that it's full disclosure, it's transparent. It's like, hey, this is what the guy said. So, and especially with ordinances, they're coming up, and, there's got to be some trust. So anyway, thank you. Appreciate it.
Good. Thank you. Anybody else want to come up and say something?
Nothing about the gate, John? I thought for sure you were gonna say something.
Afternoon, I'm Dan Richardson, and I want to discuss just a little bit about ordinance 35, the procedures that we went through. We being the planning commission went through for ordinance 35 change and the change for ordinance 55 dealing with the chicken resolution to allow chickens in under 2 acres on R1. And the planning commission had multiple meetings on that prior to a public hearing. And then we had on July 21st of last year, we had a public hearing discussed about ordinance 35, changing the animal control. And on March 30th of this year, we had a public hearing about changing ordinance 55 to again allow the chickens. At all those meetings, including both public hearings, I only heard two people speak that they would like to have chickens. There were numerous people, residents here, who said they did not want to have chickens on R1 zoned areas with less than 2 acres. Now, numerous times, Supervisor Bertrand has said, show me the data on why something should be changed. And if you can't show the data, then it should not be changed. Having two people amongst the, I don't know how many population we have, 4,000 or whatever, come forward asking for chickens to be allowed in R1, to me, shows that that's not a majority of people that want that done. So why are we moving forward with allowing chickens to be raised in R1 small lots? That doesn't make any sense. And to give a little bit more information, because part of it was a zoning issue, it was at the zoning or the planning commission. Both times we had to vote. We voted for changing ordinance 35, and we voted against. Our recommendation was that no change should be made. At the other public hearing, March 30th, the planning commission also voted against making a change to ordinance 55. Both of those recommendations went to the board, and you disregarded those recommendations. I'm not sure why. I didn't see, I mean, at the public hearing, more people were against it than were for it. That's,
Thanks, sir.
Thanks, Dan.
Anybody else? Yep, well, she beat you to it, Phil.
Good afternoon, Marty Barta from Lyon Township. Quite a few comments, but I'm going to pare them down and save some. And I've mentioned this before, but when you were talking about the fire department today, you'll remember that Christy Gilliam, the chief from Garish, came and spoke to this board. And to me, it makes the best solution for our fire department and our EMS is to combine forces with Garish. Garish has a fully functioning fire department and EMS, and we as residents in Lyon Township pay for a, our fire department and our EMS, and yet if we call an ambulance and there isn't anybody available and somebody else has to come in, then we end up getting paid for that. We get charged for that call. Just makes sense to me, and I would love for you guys to consider that again. Reaching out to Olive Branch and trying to work something out with Garish. Christy's a very able chief over there, and she's done some wonderful things with Garish's EMS and fire. You do remember that you as a board gave Supervisor Bertrand the power to be the only person to speak to the attorney through a resolution. And it doesn't have to be that way. In fact, it shouldn't be that way. In order to protect each one of you as board members, to protect the board as a whole, and to protect our township, it really should be common practice that whenever somebody on the board speaks to the attorney, that there are two people there. It helps to protect each one of you, and it also helps to protect our township. And there's if you leave it to one person's interpretation of a conversation with the attorney, it creates misunderstanding and misperceptions of the information. And in order to balance an approach, it's much more advisable. I know as an administrator in a school district downstate, we never spoke to an attorney unless there were two people present. It just was common practice. You just don't do that. And this all helps to protect everybody and to support the transparency that's needed so that people can understand exactly what's going on. You guys have the power to rescind that resolution and make changes to that a policy. So thank you.
Thanks, Marty.
Thank you very much. You up, Phil? If you stand up quick enough, it's you. Good to see you, sir.
Philip Check, I'm from Garish Township, unfortunately, today.
We won't hold that against you.
So the reason I'm here today is for a small presentation. Small being the key word.
Well, you got 5 minutes. Let me reset this. Go ahead, start.
So
There's some leeway in this, but that's
that
the
won't be.
general.
So this is a long time coming, and I can attest to that because I get it noticed every morning before 7 o'clock that our balance is a low balance. But I've talked to both the branch manager and the assistant branch manager at different times. And they've told me that checks are good for 6 months unless it specifically states on the check, only good for 90 days. Okay? So because of the demise of the organization formerly known as BLUMA, they passed a resolution that of the almost $54,000 of donations on hand, if any of that was not given back, that the remaining balance should be split between Garish Township and Lyon Township. So I'm here today to present to you half of the check, which is equal to 350 Lincolns.
Well, that's an astronomical. Here, give it to the clerk, treasurer. Oh, money in. That's awesome.
Gets the money in, I send it out.
Yeah, good. That's right.
$3.50. Don't spend it all in one place.
Right.
That was a good presentation.
Thanks, Bill.
Yeah, thanks, Phil. And I'm gonna again say that if it wasn't for you and your hard work on all of this, that thing could have dissolved into a real mess. And I appreciate everything you did there.
Absolutely.
Any other comment? Come on up, Patty.
Patty Dennis, Lyon Township. I have sat, I can't even count the number of hours I've been at these various meetings for the last 5 years, let's say. And I have to say that I'm really curious as to how this board prioritizes its decision-making and what things they decide to undertake. And I hear Paul throw out comments about how he's representing the people that voted him in, which clearly states that he's not representing all of Lyon Township who has the right to vote here, which is always offensive to me. Because I know I put the time and the effort in. And I would say 95% of people that maybe voted you in, they're never here. So that just irritates me every time I hear it. So I just have to say that. So back to the decision-making process. I wonder how it's being done. You don't have, you came in, you canceled all the other ordinances that the previous board did. And I heard, oh, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this. What I see you doing is spending an inordinate amount of time on an animal ordinance. And I have to echo everything Dan said. I was at some of those meetings. I heard it myself. Yet, how much time has been spent for two people that want this animal ordinance? Two. Where's your data, Paul? Where is it? Where is it? So I can't understand it. Okay, so now we're on the short-term rental thing. All the letters that have come in, you guys have openly talked about the fact that over, 80% of them are against it. And yet we're spending all this time and effort and money to talk about it again, because you have decided that that's what the people want. Where is this data coming from? All right, now we're going to go to the septic ordinance, which was promised was going to be addressed. We're a year and a half into your service here. I've not even heard any discussion about the septic ordinance. So again, the thing that's in my head is, how is this stuff being prioritized? And I'm asking myself, who's profiting? What campaign promises are being fulfilled? Because I don't have any other logical explanation. And it just seems unbelievable to me that this is the amount of time we're spending on stuff, talking about a fertilizer ordinance, when there's no real data.
That's not you.
Okay, there's no real data, one way or another, how impactful it is. You said yourself, you can look at one study, it's none, another study, it's lots. So let's get this data. Like Timothy said, I don't care where you get it, but let's get some data. I'm all for data. But again, the priorities seem upside down as far as I'm concerned, and they do not represent all of Lyon Township.
Thank you, Patty.
Thank you.
Anybody else got something to say? Well,
Afternoon.
how are
Mary
you?
Jane Dolan, Lyon Township. I'm good, thank you. How are you today?
We're here.
I have a couple of comments and questions. One, on the chicken ordinance, I support what Dan stated and what Patty seconded. I will clarify one comment that when the meetings that I attended, the people that voted, that expressed support for the ordinance didn't sound like they were putting together the request, or putting forward the request, I should say. They said, chickens sound nice. That was almost verbatim what their words were. Not that they had requested the ordinance, not that they understood and supported it. Chickens sound nice. So who's requesting it? I don't know, because they're not coming to the planning commission meeting and saying why they need them. And to Patty's point, people that do show up say, we don't understand why we need this ordinance changed. Okay, that's my first one. Second one, on the token fee for the compost. I think that sounds like a good idea, the gate and the cameras and everything, but I don't understand why there's being a fee discussed if it's going to be a net savings. Right? That was mentioned, that not having to pay an attendant should result in a net savings for the system.
Got an initial cost.
We've had initial costs for lots of things. We've increased the band budget, which benefits people outside the township.
We also have to get rid of this material. There's a lot of costs, which I don't know, maybe I should put it on a blackboard or something, because there's other costs than just the fee for the gate, or the cost for the gate. I mean, every year it costs money to remove that material. So at least a one-time fee, I think, is reasonable. Like I said, it's not every year. It's just a one-time fee to get us going. That's all.
I do remember, I remember a lot of discussion. I don't remember if it was last summer. I don't remember the time frame, but I do remember a lot of discussion about the compost site being overran with too much material and how much it was going to cost
to remove that. I do remember that discussion.
When we took office, it was completely full. Completely.
Yeah.
There was no way. I mean,
So folks, no, right?
so we were kind of behind the eight ball. Not again, not blaming anybody for it, but we were behind the eight ball out of the gate. So it's taken a little while to get it moved and finding homes for it and trying to get rid of it at a reasonable cost. And there's a lot involved in it.
But thinking about $20 times 500 people saving or generating $1,000, I believe the band budget has been doubled somewhere from $7,000 to $14,000. Could that not be reduced to offset the $20 that you want to charge me, a township resident, to use the compost? The bands are being advertised outside of just the township. People from outside the township attend what I'm funding.
And I believe
That's just one area, not,
believe the supervisor can attest to that, but I know we have not donations, sponsorships. That's the word I was looking for. We have sponsorships that are offsetting these costs as well. I'm not sure if you're aware of that or not.
Well,
we were discussing that we were going to look for
that's not accurate. They're,
and not enough.
the sponsorship for, radio ad support, it doesn't go directly to the cost. The costs are related to the giving back to the township of your money in relation to arts and music. The two most popular things in this township right now are the concert series and the recycling bins. In either case, we voted and that's what happened.
And I'm just asking for some consideration on
I hear you.
assessing a fee to all of the residents on the compost. Considering the other charges.
We'll vote on
It's
it.
going, yep.
It might get voted down. You know,
And then my third question is if there's an update on the West Side launch parking area with Memorial Day coming up in a couple of weeks. Is it going to be the same that it's been, or are we going to see any improvements?
I actually have a little bit, it'll be the same for sure, Memorial, the way it is, but I have an appointment on, next Wednesday with the DNR to get their opinion on what we as a township can do to help them out to curb the amount of traffic that goes in and out of there. And if they want to come in and sit down with us as board members, if they want an attendant in there because they have no attendant, they used to have a attendant in there.
Send them before the.
Because that's, you know, and I've talked to them and I said, it's getting dangerous out there when you can't see going down Old 27 because of the trailers and boats and out there. So, yeah, you know, will it make a difference? Who knows, but it can't hurt. I mean, that's at least to get with, it'd be nice if they'd say, we'll give it to you for $1. Let us take over that. I mean, that would be ideal.
Thank you for setting that up. I've been in touch with Garish again, the efforts we've gone through, the efforts they put in last year. Now they're going to let me know and we're going to try and mimic it as best we can to slow things down on our end. All of the discussions that have happened with the DNR before have come to no fruition, and the same with the county putting no parking signs. So maybe Mr. Hops will have better luck this time around. But on my end, they'll let me know. They had 2 meetings already, and then as soon as they let me know, this is from the deputy sheriff and the supervisor in Garish, then it's my intent to try and support it with our fire department personnel and whoever else we can get to be out and on scene, with the general premise that not for Garish Township or Lyon Township, for Higgins Lake in general, if you're parking all over the place, you're liable to get towed. That's as far as I got with it.
Is there any
Okay,
benefit or
so we
advantage?
got that. I'll give you another minute because we're talking, but it can't just keep going on with you replying. So how about, we'll give you a minute. Say your piece.
Pieces from the SAD, the parking lots were limited to so many vehicles at the launches. Is bringing that up with the DNR help put some emphasis on, they have ownership in this, or they're in violation.
Oh, yeah, I do have ownership in it, no doubt.
Not rebuttal to you, but trying to offer another angle. Push on them for this. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Well,
Vacation. I,
yeah,
made light of a small amount. Money, and I neglected to state the most important thing. As I wrote on the bottom of the check, the resolution that was passed in the fall dictated what was to be done. And it also stated that the funds were to be used for the health of Higgins Lake. So it's not to the Lyon Township General Fund. It's
right.
supposed to be spent for the health of Higgins Lake. Thank
To
you.
make sure that happens.
Sign it over.
Generally don't do round twos here, but. Yeah. There's not a lot of people here going.
I charge. Some people have multiple vehicles, if 2 years I'll go down the road, change vehicles, and that one-time charge per person or per vehicle.
Per house. Per household, but you're gonna have to put your plates you have to fill out an application with your plates on it, so we know who's coming in.
Maybe. All right.
I would hope you'd come in and say, hey, by the way, you know,
Dated application,
yeah.
no problem.
I mean, it's not like it's,
$20 charge.
no.
One time.
I mean, it's not like it doesn't happen. And other townships charge
That's all right.
different amounts, one-time fees. It's not a yearly fee. You know, it's just to help offset some costs, that's all. No.
Okay,
Gonna be a code.
But who's monitoring my license plate if I want to give Dan over there my?
we don't get the last word.
Yeah, that's, yeah, just fine.
I'm trying to
Yeah.
get somebody.
Yeah.
Stop.
Done. Just.
Any other comments from the public?
Sam Smith is probably over there. It's over there. I don't see him. We might be done.
Not gonna go round two. No. No, not gonna go round two, Patty.
You single me out, you say no to me
I'm trying to, okay,
twice now. You just want that on public.
absolutely.
This,
Because at some point,
you can talk, come on.
if you wanna go ahead, go ahead.
We've already had.
We can-
people.
I got work.
We've already.
You can now talk twice and everybody else can, as far as I'm concerned. I'm trying to keep it the way that the structure for the protocol is,
And
that is posted on that.
Paul, when you see, you would object as well. I guarantee you.
Every way I could, but I only went once.
So let's not be a hypocrite and let me have my say.
All right.
I will be very brief.
No seconds,
That's all.
real quick.
Okay, all those in favor to adjourn the meeting? Signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed?
Opposed.
Okay, motion carries 3-2. Thank you all for coming.
Make it here. Boy.
Turn your mics off. Yeah, why don't we see your mics up?
I think